This is Love Notes, daily devotions from Holy Trinity Lutheran Church. Grace and peace to you. Our text today is Exodus, the 2nd chapter, verses 1 through 10. And the background for this particular text is an awful act done by a powerful and oppressive ruler. If you remember the story of the people who go down into Egypt and live there after Joseph, they become a very prosperous people. In fact, they become so prosperous and so much a part of the land of Egypt that the new Pharaoh comes to power and is afraid of them. He's afraid that they will overthrow the kingdom and that these Israelites will become the rulers of the Egyptians instead of vice versa. So this Pharaoh issues an edict, an awful edict, in which he commands that every male child born of the Israelites shall be taken to the Nile River and drowned. He's going to control the population. It's an act of genocide. There are so many acts of genocide across the histories done by powerful people. Even if we don't kill them and we just put them on reservations or we seclude them with laws, we somehow try to get rid of those people who we think are a threat, and it is evil in the Lord's sight. So this story now comes, and it is actually full of humor, and it is full of revolution. It says there was a man from the house of Levi, which will become the priestly tribe of the people of Israel, and he went and married another Levite woman. No surprise. The woman conceived and bore a son. No surprise. But now we have a problem. The son that's born is supposed to be drowned in the Nile. She saw that he was a fine baby, and so she hid him for 3 months. She's not going to give him up. She's not going to drown him in the Nile. But hiding a baby is tough. They're noisy. The neighbors notice. Somehow word will get out. And it says when she could hide him no longer, she got a papyrus basket. Now the word here for basket is the same word as ark in the story of Noah. And we should see the parallel. Both are vehicles or vessels of salvation. She plasters it with bitumen and pitch. She covers it with tar so that it's waterproof, so that it floats. She put the child in it and placed it among the reeds on the bank of the river. I guess technically she's obeying the law of Pharaoh. She's put her son in the river. That he doesn't drown, well, maybe that's not her fault, except for the ark. Then she sends the sister apparently along to stand at a distance and watch and see what happens. The next character in the story is the daughter of Pharaoh. Now, I imagine that they knew the daughter of Pharaoh came down to the river and bathed at that spot, and I can imagine that the sister might have put a little English on the basket as it floated downstream so that it wouldn't be missed. So when the daughter of Pharaoh, the one who has issued the edict of genocide, comes down to bathe at the river, she sees the basket among the reeds, and she goes and she has a servant retrieve it. She opens up the basket. There's a child crying, and she took pity on him. There's a verse. The daughter of Pharaoh took pity on the one that Pharaoh had no pity upon. Quite an irony. And thank God that pity is not passed on genetically, huh? She says this must be one of the Hebrews' children. What's she going to do now? By right, she should just shove it into the water and drown it. But the sister comes forward and says, do you want me to go find someone to nurse the baby? Pharaoh's daughter says yes. And that yes changes the course of everything. With that yes, she undoes Pharaoh's no. With that yes, she says, bring life instead of death. So she goes, the sister, and she gets the child's mother. Pharaoh's daughter says to the mother, take this child and nurse it for me, and I will give you wages. In another kind of humorous twist. The mother of the child is given now money and is paid to nurse her own baby. When the child grows up, the mother brings it back to Pharaoh's daughter and says, "Here is your son." And she names him Moses because he was drawn out of the water. And that's what Moses means. You see how God works in this story? When the world says no, God says yes. When the world says death, God says life. When the world has cruel and evil tyrants, God sends people nobody listens to, like daughters and sisters and mothers, to make sure that things turn out right. God keeps promises, as we've said before. And God sends among the people a deliverer. This story has parallels with the story of Jesus, who is born in a manger, not in a throne room, who is saved from harm, and who goes back down into Egypt to hide from Herod as he's killing the babies. God has a wicked way of dealing with the wicked, might be one way of saying it. And thanks be to God for that. Amen.